Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Attachment Project series on attachment. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, something that people spend weeks, months, even years trying to figure out: how to tell if you're compatible with someone. Before we start, if you're wondering if you have an anxious attachment style or don't yet know yours, then follow the link to our free quiz. The test is straightforward and easy to take, and you'll have your attachment report within minutes. Now then, let's discuss how to tell if you're compatible with someone based on the traits of the different attachment styles. For many of us, love is the ultimate life goal, and we spend a lot of time in search of it, sometimes unfruitfully. This can lead to a major buildup of frustrations, while we often blame ourselves and wonder, am I doing something wrong? The truth is, you're not at fault, but perhaps your choice of partners is. Maybe you're not considering the fundamental compatibility between yourself and potential partners before you throw yourself heart first into a relationship. It's important for couples to be able to have fun together and share interests. Relationships thrive when people are compatible. But what not many people consider is that your and a potential partner's attachment style can affect how compatible you are. This isn't definitive, of course. It's just a guide for those of you who feel as though you can't meet the right person. Remember, attachment works like a spectrum, so people often change their traits according to their circumstances. So how can your anxious attachment style affect your compatibility with others? Someone with a secure attachment style is undeniably a suitable match for someone with an anxious attachment. In fact, they're a good match for all of the attachment styles. They're positive, balanced, caring, and, of course, affectionate, within boundaries. They can actually help an anxious attacher feel regulated and more secure, so our anxious traits are triggered less. You can pretty easily tell when someone is securely attached from their behaviors. For example, they will be open and honest in their communication with you, and that includes how they feel about you, for both the good and bad. They'll tell you how into you they are, or whether they feel like you're not suited for each other. They'll share details about their life with you, but not overshare. And they'll be genuinely interested in you, so they'll ask questions about your life. There's pretty much no reason why secure and anxious attachers wouldn't work as a couple. Another anxious attacher may just be your perfect match. Think about it. If you need to feel attended to and loved, there's no one more suitable than someone with the same anxious style to make you feel valued. But be careful. Anxious relationships tend to blow hot and cold. This is because of your simultaneous need for love and major fear of rejection. So you both might manage these feelings through bursts of passion, as well as hypervigilance and suspicion towards perceived threats. So there might be some personal work required for the relationship to work out. Anxious attachers can often come across similar to secure attachers, at least at first. Through a little deeper analysis, you can determine whether someone is anxiously attached. Whereas they'll be chatty and open with you, they might overshare personal information in an attempt to forge a close bond as quickly as possible. They may also talk a little too much about themselves and not ask questions about you. Plus, they'll be keen to impress you and avoid rejection, so expect a little bragging early on in the relationship. Still, there's no one better placed to understand an anxious attacher's actions than another anxious attacher. Now, let me start by saying that I'm not damning anxious and avoidant relationships. If the spark is strong enough, and you both feel committed to overcoming your differences through personal work, there's no reason why an anxious avoidant relationship can't work. What I am saying, though, is that on paper, anxious avoidant relationships aren't typically considered compatible. This is because, fundamentally, these two attachment styles are at the opposite end of the spectrum of behavior. An anxious attacher craves closeness, but an avoidant needs space. So, as an anxious attacher, if a partner pulls away from you emotionally, your fears of abandonment are triggered and you push for further closeness. How does the avoidant attacher respond? They pull away from you even more, possibly even by ending the relationship. See, there could be a need for major compromises for this relationship to work. If you feel like this would be too much for you to cope with, or you welcome a challenge, it's actually pretty easy to tell whether someone is avoidantly attached. Just examine how much information they're willing to give you about themselves. Are they open with you? Or are they trying to find out personal details akin to pulling teeth? They're probably only going to be willing to tell you superficial details about their lives. So if you're happy to only know their favorite TV show, food, and music, then you're both good to go. Just keep in mind, if you fall for an avoidant attacher, you risk hurting your heart. They're typically more interested in more casual or short-term relationships. There are many reasons why an anxious and disorganized partnership would work. You both crave love, so would cater to each other's needs in this regard. But there are undeniable incompatibilities that face the potential relationship also. The main one is that the disorganized attachment style is categorized by inconsistent and unpredictable behavior, and as an anxious attacher, you need stability, not excess distrust. Yet, with professional support and development, love in an anxious and disorganized relationship can prevail. After all, you may be able to provide the consistency that a disorganized attacher needs. When trying to tell whether a potential partner has a disorganized attachment, you might notice that they change their patterns of behavior quite frequently, which can make it difficult for you to predict how they'll respond to certain situations. Sometimes they may act needy of your affection and attention, but just as easily they might try to push you away. This is because they tend to swap between anxious and avoidant traits, depending on their mood and circumstance. It's not that they're changing how they feel about you, just that they're frightened about how overwhelming the prospect of a loving relationship can be. Can you recognize any of your previous relationships in the patterns mentioned? Do you feel like having more of an understanding of how people's attachment styles affect how they act in a relationship will affect your future dating endeavors? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, love and compatibility aren't always synonymous. A relationship can still work if there's enough love to work through your problems. For more details on how the anxious attachment style affects how we act in different circumstances, check our videos on anxious attachment in relationships, friendships, and the superpowers of the anxious attachment style. And make sure to check out our more comprehensive book, Attachment Styles, Ultimate Guide and Workbook, for more information on all of the attachment styles and how they function in a range of different domains. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.